I love getting straight to the point with this, so. Oh my God, dude. This is amazing. Stock panels on, stock seat on. Oh my God, dude. This is like everything I envisioned in my head. It's like seeing it actually come to fruition is insane. These are getting removed. I'm getting the push pin styles. That'll be actually pretty similar to how TJ did his 700, because I think he had to flare these panels slightly too. Look up here. Welds are all good. See these plates, reinforcement plates that I was talking about in the last video. That's how the tank is on there. I do gotta come up with some type of like throttle body filter or something, but I mean that'll be worked out. We get a little bit farther, but it is in there. It is in there. The stock suspension is getting quite compressed. I mean, that was to be expected though. I mean, it's literally, we added like, I think like 100, not 100, maybe like 80 pounds to the bike just from the engine alone. Because I think these weigh like 139 dry, if I'm not mistaken. The Ducati 1199 engine. But man, this is absolutely insane. Let me sit on it. Okay, I'm gonna try to set the camera up too, but it feels just like being on the Grom, honestly. I am getting literally a Ducati. It's from a 18 to 24 or like a 23 model year Ducati Panigale V4 clutch assembly with the master cylinder. So I'm gonna come test fit that tomorrow. Obviously Fuel Tech ECU. I think we figured out how we are going to mount that up here, because I think this is just a steel plate, so I'll probably just pick up some plate steel and bolt it to the back of the ECU, and then just use this as a base to weld off of. But and then there will be some closeout panels up here as well, and then I might have to put like a small overflow up here as well. So let me set the camera up from the back though. Right there. Sit on the bike. Well, you can see how easy this compresses now, but I mean, even with the stock Grom, even with the stock Grom, I could get this to compress, but it's just that much easier, especially the rear now, because of how long the arm is. But, I mean, all of this stuff has been upgraded anyway, so it's really not that big of a deal. Sorry, my phone fell, but yeah, man, it is. I'm in like shock right now. It's just crazy when you have like this vision in your head and you see it just come alive. But once again, everything is like looking really, really good. Really good. And then I did have a few people, because I had posted this on Reddit as well. Posted it on a few different platforms. A lot of people were wondering. But this is chromoly tube right here that we're using for the frame fabrication. But came out great. This did have to get notched right here. But yeah, so as I mentioned earlier in the video, I am running dual Honda CBR or Honda CBR 300 radiators. I think I actually get one in the mail tomorrow. So kind of the general idea behind that, as far as mounting goes, one, think this horn I'll probably have to relocate up into like the headlight area to give me a little bit more room. But the goal right now is to basically mount one right here, and then maybe like one under here. The exhaust is going to be ceramic coated and probably wrapped just to help with like heat. And then obviously I wanted to try to minimize as much heat soak as possible on that radiator, but it's just kind of one of those scenarios where, I mean, I don't have a lot of space and I really do not want to put anything in the rear because it just, yeah, I don't want to do that. But idea right now is to basically run both of those radiators in parallel. I want to say the ports are probably equivalent to like what a -8 would be. It's either a -8 or a -10. I got to check. But by running them in parallel, because obviously I know Ducati would use a much larger radiator. But the only difference in my case is that there's a few variables that are different. For one, everything is a lot more exposed. And then two, there isn't any shrouding around the radiator. So I would imagine that that would only help. But with those radiators having the equivalent of -8 ports, by running them in parallel, you basically can get the same cross section by running, basically running the radiators both in parallel, and then going from the dual -8 or -10 connections up to a single -16, which is the same ID, or actually slightly larger than what the coolant in and out ports are on the Ducati engine. So that's just a way I figured to where I don't have to really hinder flow. So I don't know, it may work, it may not work. I can only put something in place and then just approve upon it later, you know, if I find out that it's not sufficient. So it's kind of the idea there. Both of those fans will have radiators on them, and I'll probably play around with the coolant temperature set point, because a lot of the people that complain about this engine and the stock Ducati setting, one of the biggest complaints is that the engine cooling fan cut-on temp is really high on them. So I don't know, maybe they do it for like fuel mileage, because I know that's kind of a thing, especially in cars too. But I don't know, mine I'm probably gonna set maybe like 175, 180, somewhere around there. So I don't know, it's just a lot of different variables at play. I'm just hoping that I don't have a ton of heat issues with this thing, but like I said, I can only put something in place and then see how it works. Maybe I'm overthinking, but I'm just trying to cover all my bases. What's up, guys? So it is August 1st today, well, almost August 2nd. And I have been collecting parts like crazy for I actually haven't even thought of a name yet for the Ducati Grom. I don't know, maybe leave something down in the comments, but I'm thinking maybe Ducati, I don't know, Panda, you guys tell me. But anyways, back on subject, I've been collecting parts like crazy for this thing. Just got my Fuel Tech harness in today, IO harness, or I'm sorry, B harness, and or A and B harness, and then this is for the wideband O2. Then you can see I got stuff over here. The one good thing about this build is I'm using a lot of carryover parts from my YZ build, so it makes it pretty simplistic to integrate this stuff, because it's like I've already done my homework with the Turbo YZ. So I'm using the same throttle, I'm using the same ECU, and the reason I say throttle is because this engine is a drive-by-wire dual throttle body engine. So of course you need like a Hall effect or a pop-based electronic throttle to control that. So I'm using the same KTM throttle as my Turbo YZ build. I'm using the same PDM, which is the Moto Gadget Mo Unit Blue. This is the proper thing to use if you are wiring a bike from scratch like I am. Nice PDM. You can control the entire bike from your phone. It's a built-in alarm, built-in GPS tracking, everything. This thing is badass, so definitely check it out. FT550 and then also a FuelTech wideband. So all of these parts, like I said, I'm running on my YZ. They work great. Really love the FuelTech stuff. I actually got the tune pulled up from when I got the Ducati engine running, which is right here. This is kind of just like a base map that I made. This will have to get adjusted because when I did run the engine, it was just running on a set of stock OEM 45-pound injectors. Since I'm deleting 2 injectors, because basically the engine is set up with 4 injectors. You have a top mount and then you have 2 bottom mount injectors, and they do that for power production. I think you get better atomization from the injectors being higher up in the runner. So it's sound reasoning why they do that. But just in my case, since I'm so vertically height limited on how high the engine can sit, unfortunately, the 2 top mount injectors had to get deleted. So my buddy over at Fuel Injector Development, Tom Sewell, I also run his injectors in my Turbo YZ as well with great success. Basically, I got a set of injectors ordered from him. Those are around 95-ish pound, somewhere around there. So I basically just doubled up on injector size to compensate for getting rid of 2 45-pound injectors, because that's what they use from factory. 4 45-pound injectors, I removed 2 of them. So 45 is 90. So went a little bit over. So I think we should be good there. And then as far as the fuel system, I got this in a few days ago. This is a fuel pump from a 2008 Suzuki Hayabusa 1300R. The reason I went with this pump is because it's super modular. And then what's even better is it already has an integrated regulator, so I don't have to have that sticking out externally on the bike. It has a float sensor, which will be very easy to integrate into the FuelTech ECU. And then there's a guy on eBay, I got really lucky finding this, but he makes these billet flanges that basically bolt to the pump head assembly. So you would essentially take that billet flange and you would build a fuel cell around it. So since I'm doing an aluminum fuel cell in my swing arm, because that was kind of the reason that I did a stretch swing arm, because that's the only other place to get any type of reasonable like fuel tank capacity. Because I'm running 2 tanks. I'm running a small portion of what's left of the stock tank because that did have to get cut up quite a bit. And then I'm putting a box fuel cell in the boxed section of my evil swing arm in the Grom. So yeah, this should be pretty simplistic. It already has a plug on it and everything. I will probably cut this off because I'll convert it to like a Deutsch style plug. That's what I like building all of my harnesses with. So this is a Deutsch plug if you aren't familiar with it. These are very easy to assemble, and then they also are weather sealed. It's just very easy to deal with. But yeah, so I also do have a few items that I'm getting in tomorrow from eBay. It's actually pretty funny because I found this on eBay right here, which is this is for an 18 to 24 Ducati Panigale V4. It's basically the clutch assembly, and is pretty funny because the same guy that I bought this from, or the guy that I bought this from is the same guy that I got my 1199 engine from. So this was a really clean clutch master assembly. So it comes with the master cylinder, basically everything short of the clutch stainless braided line, but I'm doing a custom one anyways because the one from the Ducati would probably be too long for my project. But so I got that knocked out. Even better because it has a clutch switch, so I can do some pretty cool safety features with that, which I kind of think is a necessity with a 1199 engine and a Grom. And then what else? I got these 3 items coming. So for the people that don't know, the CBR 300 radiator, this is a highly used radiator on Grom swaps. The reason why is these fit between the stock fairings and it looks really clean. It doesn't look like, you know, just like some crap that someone slapped together. So I ordered 2 of these because I know these Ducati engines, they really don't have the best rapport for running cool. A lot of people complain about them. running pretty warm, even in the stock Panigale setting. But I'm not really saying that that'll be the case for my project, because there's a lot of different variables that are changing versus the stock Panigale application. So for one, the engine is getting a lot more air cooling than it typically would in like a stock Ducati Panigale chassis. And then also, my radiators are a lot more exposed and they aren't blocked by any type of shrouding. So the plan for this is to basically run 2 of these radiators. One of them I could run between the stock fairings, and then one of them I would have to basically put at an angle next to the horizontal cylinder head. So, but the plan is to essentially run these 2 in parallel flow. The reason I'm doing that is because the Ducati has a 1-inch ID inlet and outlet, and the ports on these radiators are significantly smaller than that. So in order to get that cross-sectional flow similar to what the Ducati would normally run with its OEM radiators, I'm going to run these in parallel. So I want to say this would be comparable to like a Dash 10 fitting, whereas the Ducati Panigale inlet and outlet cooling ports is like a Dash 16, so it's a 1-inch ID. But I'm thinking by running 2 radiators and running 2 Dash 10s, that should get me actually to a little bit more cross-sectional flow, or cross-sectional size, versus the stock 1-inch ID diameter coolant ports. So that's kind of the plan for now. I don't know if that's going to work, but this is kind of like my best bet as far as fitment, because I really did not want this to look like ass. I'll be completely honest with you. Aesthetics, it matters just as much as functionality to me. I will be running dual fans, so you can see this one that I ordered. This was pretty clean. I got a pretty good deal on. This is this already has a fan on it, and then this one right here I had to order with the fan on it. So we'll see what happens. I mean, you got to start with something, then basically improve from there. So I don't really know what else to say regarding that, but that would be the easiest thing to integrate into the space that I'm working with. So that's kind of the plan for right now. So I guess we'll see what happens. So running 2 Dash 10 fittings into a Y that tapers from dual Dash 10 to single Dash 16. The dual Dash 10 should get me a very similar cross section as the single Dash 16. Actually, probably a bit more, because Dash 8 would be a 1/2-inch ID. And then I can't remember what a Dash 10 is offhand. So that's kind of the general thinking right now. So this is basically what I had to delete right here. These basically clip on the throttle body, or they bolt to the throttle body. And these are the top mount 45-pound injectors, but they won't fit. So bye-bye they go. So I'll pretty much be updating this over the next couple of weeks. I'll be honest, it's probably a slim chance that this thing will make it out in the time frame that I have, but I mean, always worth a shot to try, right? But a few parts actually just came in, so I figured I would throw this in the video as well. But this is basically the electrical system for the bike. This is also what I run in my Turbo YZ. Like I mentioned earlier, Moto Gadget M-Unit Blue can pretty much control your entire bike from your phone. I got one of my fans in. I think the one radiator is coming in tomorrow, and then one is coming in Monday. Fuel injector development injectors. But yeah, things are starting to roll in, and yeah, this thing will be out sooner than later. So definitely stay tuned. If you guys haven't, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, because you know, things are only going to get crazier. And you probably don't want to miss the first ride when I take this thing out, because this should be nuts. This will probably be like the Turbo YZ build on steroids. So please like, comment, and subscribe. Follow the Instagram, follow the TikTok, and yeah, until next time.